Hey guys, welcome back to another Make and Tank Fishing podcast with myself and Mike. We've got a good guest tonight from Eastern Tennessee, Mr. Josh Sharp from Bass and Beer YouTube. So stay tuned as we bring you the show. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. So we're going to bring Josh on real quick. Let's give him a nice welcome to the show and get everything kicked off here with him. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. And hey, just like I said previously, just give us a rundown of who you are, where you kind of from, and what you like to do as far as kayak bass fishing, and we'll go from there.
My name is Josh Sharp with Bass and Beer on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and just do a lot of kayak fishing. That's basically all I do. The only time I really jump in a boat is if I tag along with someone, but 99% of the time we're just out exploring East Tennessee in our kayaks. Fish a lot of tournaments around here, Tennessee Bass Nation, some of our local trails, Tin Cat and stuff, and I've also got a little shoalie that me and guys like Alex Rudd and John Dalton over at Creek Fishing Adventures, we go out and do a lot of exploring and stuff. So,
good deal. So, what kind of got you in the ball game? Let me ask you that.
Oh, well, that's started out like doing YouTube. We've got some land up in the mountains, and I started out doing like YouTube up there, like camping and stuff like that. And we me and the buddies always went out and drank some beer and stuff and hung out, at some of the little local pubs. And my buddy Matt, who also started, kind of came up with the name Bass and Beer, he was like, we should buy some kayaks and start fishing, kayak fishing. Never knew nothing about any of that. I didn't even fish really at this point, maybe 5 years ago. And I went and bought a little 8-foot, I don't even know what it was. It was like 8-foot sit-in kayak off of Marketplace. Grabbed a couple old rods my granddad or somebody had laying around. I mean, maybe I don't even know what they were. 2-piece little spinning rods. And I remember specifically like doing a little bit of catfishing. So I'm pretty sure I was out there bass fishing like with a worm with like 25 or 30 pound tests. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And really, I mean, that's the beginning. I was actually thinking about doing a video showing, because I think I started filming immediately. Like when I first got my first trips on YouTube, because I was already kind of trying to do YouTube and make videos. So I'm pretty sure people who have been watching my channel for the last 5 years have probably seen everything happen from day one. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Plus I've got it saved. I can go back and laugh at myself like, golly.
Sometimes that's the best way, like people watching you learn. I found that like when I'm actually literally doing like a remaster of all my old stuff. So I'm going through and I'm like recutting a bunch of my videos and like re-releasing them because I realized I put too much crap of like me casting and reeling and not enough like actual stuff to keep people engaged. But like what's really cool is when you go back and you watch that stuff, like you said, like you have this like diary of like, I'm looking at videos from 3 years ago and the way I'm fishing. I'm like, dude, throw a jig. Like you realize how far you come.
It's amazing.
From filming and fishing ability just by rewatching all that old stuff.
Yeah. I've thought about going back and like setting some of that stuff to like private, but then again I was like, I'm not going to do that. I want people to see the progress and that we all start not knowing. I mean, nobody starts anything as an expert.
Yep.
So it's really cool for me to go back and look. It's hard for me to watch it all, skip through some stuff because I'm like,
it's painful. Like I said, I've been going through and like I'm not really what I'm doing is just cutting out. Like I used way too much B-roll and I used way too much like montage-y crap of like nothing. Like I didn't do it like good. Like it wasn't like Alex Rudd level stuff with a drone and all that. It was just like me casting and then reeling for 4 minutes and then I catch a fish. And I'm like, no, like everybody was clicking out at that point because they didn't want to watch that anymore. So I'm cutting that and just putting the fish catches in a row but keeping the rest of it together. And like you said, it's really cringy when you watch your old stuff. Like
The quality is awful, but it's funny to like see where I'm at. Like from like back whenever I first started, I remember looking at guys like Eric Romines. My buddy Matt turned me on to him. He had maybe 1,000, 1,200 or 1,300 subscribers, and we were like, oh, dang, look at this guy. And Rudd probably didn't have. I don't even know what Rudd had. I don't even remember the first time seeing him, but he didn't have 50,000. He probably had 15 or 20 maybe.
Yep.
But looking at those guys, like, I don't know, just being that small of a channel, even like where I'm at now is 7,000 and something, which to me isn't a lot when you hang around guys like John. They're doing it for a living. But I mean, I guess to a lot of people though, 7,000 and something, 8,000 subscribers is still a ton of people, and it never goes backwards. It always grows, especially if you're consistent and stuff. So,
yep. So
I'm looking to hit my first 1,000.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, Josh. Is with so much content being out there on YouTube now and other platforms, and just everybody's doing content now, right? If you had to start today with your first video, what would you recommend to people to kind of, I guess, trying to get the best content on the first half, and then build your channel from there? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as if you had to start YouTube today in 2024 and put your first fishing video on there as a content creator, what would you do? Like,
what steps would you take?
Yeah, what
kind of video would you make? Or
I guess that's different for a lot of people, as in financially. I remember starting out with like this cheap little, I don't even know if it was a GoPro. It was like some type of little action camera. And I
did the same thing.
I mean, you start where you can start. You got to start where you can, I just now bought my drone this past year. I just got a really nice camera, the same camera John and Alex uses this past year. Now I see them using their iPhones more than anything. And I was like, dang, why did I spend $800, $900, $1,000 on a camera when all I had to do was get an iPhone? But I guess just, try to buy the best quality camera you can, especially if you've got a nice phone, you can do a lot with your phone. You can upload straight from your phone. iPhone is amazing. Some of these newer, I don't even keep up with it much, but I just know the iPhones are freaking great quality. And your GoPro, don't get an old, cheap action camera. Go buy you a GoPro Hero Black, 7, 8, 9, 10, something nice that records good quality. And I think that's number one, starting there. And a lot of these GoPros, like me, I don't use no microphone or anything, so I let it pick up the sound. The little editing software I use, I can turn that volume up, so I usually turn that so it's louder.
Yep.
So that's the first thing I recommend is doing that. Just starting out, even if you guys save a little bit of money, start out with halfway decent equipment, whether it's just a single GoPro and a phone, and go from there. So that's I think the number one thing. Like I said, going back looking at that old footage, you're kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. The beauty of the phone too is like with the Bluetooth, you can get like a Bluetooth mic. You can get like stuff to make the audio better for the phone, because phone mics do tend to get a lot of like, they pick up wind like crazy.
Yeah.
But if you can buy like a cheap Bluetooth lapel mic and just clip it on or whatever to use your phone. Because I did the same thing. I got a buddy from Canada who also does YouTube, and like he bought like it's very similar to, like, I think it might even be the same model that Alex uses, like the actual big DSLR style camera. But like my phone does 4K video, so like.
Yep.
Do I really need that expensive camera when I already have that phone in my pocket?
I see like Rudd use his camera for a lot of like intros, talking to the camera.
Yep.
Or some of his cool little scenic shots you'll see where the camera focuses and stuff.
Yep.
But I mean, 90% of the time I see him and John just use their iPhones. They just record their B-roll and stuff like that using their iPhones.
Yep.
Yeah. So
the good point though is just to start. Like, start where you can, and you'll get used to. One of the things that I get a lot from guys is like, well, I don't know if I could talk to the camera. Just pretend you're fishing with your buddy. That's how I do it. I literally just pretend like I'm telling my buddy what I'm doing, and you'll be surprised. Like, eventually it becomes organic, and it almost becomes a problem. because if you're fishing by yourself and you go down the bank, you'll go down the bank and people will be like, "What?" And you're like, "No, not you. I'm doing my thing." Like you just instinctually do it. Like I've watched footage before, and like my internal monologue becomes an external monologue, and then like you're like, "Oh, I'll just use this because it actually works for the video."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just be like you said, be organic, be yourself. I remember people they jump into this stuff and they want it to grow so bad. They want it to grow so fast, and you have all this like you think, oh, I'm gonna get monetized. I'm gonna make money. It don't happen like that. It is a slow process. You don't make, especially when you first start, you don't make jack. And I'm 4 or 5 years in, and I still don't make much, and at all. Especially not compared to like John, for instance, who does it for a living. But just go out there, be yourself, have fun, and don't like. I really used to try so hard to like come up with content. Like I would try so hard to force like, talking and do like like now I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. It kind of like becomes its own thing. It does its own thing. You've learned so much more about fishing. There's so much more to talk about. You know what you're talking about. At a certain point, you're like, okay, we got things we could talk about because I know what I'm talking about now. And I just go out and let these trips just I just let it flow. I just go
make the video
fish.
For you, not for the fans.
Yeah,
and that's
I go out.
It is.
I go out and fish. I have fun, and I keep the cameras rolling. And I've went out.
Keep the cameras rolling is key.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but that's something that a lot of guys that I fish with that do YouTube, they start and stop, and they're like, "Oh, damn, I missed it." No, keep that damn thing rolling.
Yeah, well, I do that though. I do that, but like you'll see a lot of guys that like try to save battery, and they'll turn their cameras off, and the next thing you know, you see the video starting out, and they're already caught it. So what I do is I record all day long. I don't record nonstop.
Right.
But what I'll do is I'll record. And once I've noticed, I'm on a little dry spell, I ain't caught a fish for a minute, or I'm running, I'll turn it off, and then I'll just immediately start it back. That way it separates my clips, and when I get home and edit, it's a little easier. But I literally record all day. I mean, look at things that happen, like the lady in the creek that shot the gun when we were wading. Me finding that guy on the river stuck on that bluff, just anything like that. You never know what's going to happen, so I keep the camera rolling.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, about you talking about cameras rolling. Is the guy on the bluff? I was like, damn, how do you see that guy way up there?
I heard him yelling from way up the river, like a good ways. And I kind of launched at a ramp that's sketchy, but there's a lot of cops and stuff that sit there, and a lot of city workers. It's a huge gravel parking lot under a bridge. So if it's raining or anything, I mean, it's massive, giant. I mean, you could fit 100 cars underneath there probably, literally. But these big, city workers and cops and ambulances, they come down there and take breaks and stuff. So I'm coming down the river. Here's something. Luckily, I'm in a kayak because it's quiet. I've got that little electric NK180, so I could hear everything. I heard something in the distance, someone yelling, and I thought somebody was arguing. But, your instincts is kind of like, what was that? So I just kept listening, and then I could tell there was a little bit of like urgency in that sound of the guy's voice, and just worked my way down, and found him. I'm looking on the bank because I'm thinking somebody's like in the water, and I hear him say, "Up here!" I was like, "What?"
That is crazy.
So what do you do? Just fall down the ravine a little bit?
There's a homeless camp underneath that bridge, and like I said, it's a massive bridge, and drugs maybe, a little feeling good about himself, decided to climb up the side of a bluff, which, you could probably climb up it, but it started pouring down rain and stuff. And once that happened, that thing was probably so slippery, he just couldn't get back down. And this was a day that it was, I think, a high of like 48 maybe, which ain't crazy code, but when you're stuck out there at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, it's probably in the 30s. And then you get soaking wet. He'd been stuck out there for like 6-7 hours.
Oh, wow.
And he would have been stuck all night, and it got back down into the 30s. So he might not have made it. I think he already had hypothermia.
That may have been bad, yeah.
Yeah. I think they said he already had hypothermia at that point. So it's just one of those things. I feel like maybe I was meant to be over there because I almost didn't go either. Like I literally was like, dude, go over there. And I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good story, man. That's yeah. I was watching the video, and I was like, I was trying to hear the guy trying to yell at you.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, picking up.
yeah, it was kind of hard. I was like, holy cow, how did he see him up there? It
Yeah.
looked like there was a log or something, like big tree had fell or something. He was wedged in between the tree and.
No, he was on a little bluff. He was on a little spot that stuck out. It was flat. The thing is it shows you how hard it was to get down, is that they didn't climb up to get him. They used rope and stuff to lower themselves down. They had like actual rescue squad out there with ropes and harnesses come down to get him. It was pretty crazy. And my buddy Romans was the one driving the boat, and he was like, you can leave if you want to. I was like, no, dude, I'm in here now. I'm watching this.
Yeah.
You don't get to see stuff like this all the time.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that's the other side of like content creation for fishing doesn't always have to be fishing. I think that's the other misconception. Sometimes you can get like, I made an ice fishing video, actually just released it today. We caught one fish, but there was dudes that were snowboarding down over the earthen dam. And I was kind of half expecting them to hit like one of those bigger chunks of slate and like fall on their face. So I recorded it. And then there was a group of people that were like cross country skiing on the water. And like you can catch all that stuff and then use that in your video. So it doesn't always have to be fishing content. You can make a video out of a single fish catch if you do the work and actually do little recordings.
If there's content there and there's like a story, I'll post it. You know, you got these guys that watch your channel. You know, I've learned as my channel grows that I've got these guys that are, you know, consistently always there watching the channel, watching my videos. They'll basically, you know, that's why you see all these guys that get huge. They can about record anything, and people are going to watch them. And I see, and here's one thing. This is how I am. So many guys record, and they only want to post fishing. They start the video out on the water, they're catching fish, and then the video ends. And I get that. That's cool, whatever. If that's what you like doing, and maybe that's what people want to watch. Me, I like, if anybody watches my channel, you'll see I always start my videos out with a little music, showing me going to where I'm going, or loading my equipment, or loading my... if you watch my videos, I want you to feel like you're going along for the entire trip. Even like when we go do these like Tennessee Bass Nations events, or some of these events that are 2 or 3 hours away, and me and some of the guys rent like a B&B or something. Kind of like perfect example.
Uh-oh.
You're good.
I think we lost him there for a second.
There you go. You're back, Josh.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Greg Blanchard. He's somebody that's a perfect example. He records everything. That's how I like to film and record. You don't have to drag it out and make it long, but show those sections. Show the part where this is how I get all my gear ready, and we're loading up, and now we're traveling, and then we stopped at a gas station to get gas or grab some beer or some food to finish, and then when we get to the B&B or the hotel, I like to show all that stuff. It don't have to be long, but maybe when you're first starting your channel out and you're new to it, maybe people, they don't know you yet. Maybe they just want to see you fish and catch the fish. But I feel like as you build an audience, people want to watch all that stuff.
Right. And going to that side is, if you like Greg does, you know, with his whole crew, you know, the guys fish together every single weekend, but he's the only one that's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But the guy they call Santa, Terrence, he works for Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, and they just, you know, if they go somewhere, they show their everyday life other than fishing, and you kind of have to, in my opinion, I think that's where you get followers at, saying, look, you know, well, he's fixing to come out with another video Saturday because that's his regular time to post. Let me see where he went today. Let me see what he done today.
People,
fishing, or
people start to feel like they know you a little bit more when you show a little more into your stuff, and then they relate to you more, and then they want to watch your videos more. Yep. I'm going to keep doing. John does videos a certain way. Alex does videos a certain way, and it's funny because every time I get on podcasts where we talk, I always talk about those guys, but they're like, those are my road dogs. Those are the guys I fish with now. They kind of, we all help when we all go out and fish. It's funny because they're doing it for a living, but they got that. Here I am, a little guy with 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers. I tag along with them, and they don't treat me no differently. We all bounce ideas off each other. We all have fun, and a lot of our conversations is this right here, talking about YouTube, talking about what we can post to be better, our videos together, it's always about growing, and we all try to help each other. And I'm lucky that I get to fish with those guys because they're already there, and they're just, obviously they're going to continue to grow, and I'm going to kind of get to, you know, they're going to be kind of like pulling me along in the back, you know, like a little puppy dog that don't want to walk, but I get to kind of tag along with them the whole time.
Right.
There's just something that's so cool about fishing with another YouTuber, because they get it. They get that you look up and you're catching a fish, and maybe you didn't have your camera running, but you look up and they've got their phone out, or they're like, you know, sometimes they'll get that shot that you didn't get because they know what you're trying to do, and they pull their phone out too. So
John is the man about that. Oak Creek Fishing Adventures. He's good. He's really good about that.
Yeah. What really caught my eye fishing about John and his channel was, it kind of brought me back to my roots when I was like a kid. You know, he'd find a roadside ditch. Well, there might be some fish in here.
Yeah.
And take that ultralight and just throw it and catch, you know, little brim like that, or, you know, little bass 6-7 inches long. And,
there's about 150,000 other people that feel the exact same way.
Yeah. And he grew his channel from there. That's brought him throughout the YouTube career of him. And
he found that special little niche.
That's right.
Guys like me that go out and do kayak fishing and stuff, look how long it's, I mean, granted, I'm probably, I guess maybe, I don't know exactly. I think I'm getting into about 5 years. I'm pretty sure they're both on 8, 9, 10 years. But look at Alex. It's taken him this long to get to 50,000. John hit something special that just blasted him off. And, you know, like the same thing with Rudd. So many people's fishing out of a boat. So many people's kayak fishing. It's harder for us to grow, especially like one of y'all brought up earlier about there's so many people doing it now. Yep. John come in at the right time doing that creek fishing stuff. And it's not just that, though. It's his personality. Everybody sees it. John's different. He don't, you won't hear him cuss. He won't drink a beer. He lets us talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about. And he laughs and goes on with us. And like, I have this little thing I say every time, you know, John, make sure you go home and, you know, douse yourself down with holy water after hanging out with me and Alex, and ask God for forgiveness, because he is a big Christian person, and he hangs out with us, and we're pretty wild. Me and Alex get, you know, but John, he enjoys it, tags along, you know, hangs out with us all the time. We try to be respectful though, and you know, obviously, and plus, you know, recording videos, you can't be too stupid anyways.
Yeah.
The days of like having one viral video propel you to the top are gone. Like, that's not. It used to be. Everybody was like, I get one viral video and then I've made it. That's not a thing anymore. The market's too saturated. There's too many people out.
There's too many viral videos.
You gotta grow. You gotta grind and grow. It's just how it is now.
Yeah.
It's We've got a choo-choo train coming by.
That's me. It actually comes by my house so close it actually shakes my house. So if you start seeing stuff move.
We have.
I've got one close too.
Yeah,
I've got one close too.
I was like, am I hearing things?
I will tell you, the first time it ever happened, I was drunk and I didn't know there was a train. So when I bought this house, I was hammered. We were unpacking, and my house starts doing this, and I'm like, oh, I need to slow down on this beer. But I realized
it's an earthquake.
It was a train after. Yeah.
So I have a military base, and their range is back up to like face my house. So when they shoot them big howitzers and them big Bradleys, and the cups and everything will fall off the wall. If you got something on a shelf or something, it'll literally fall off the wall.
Well, I live in Knoxville, and I'm kind of close to the hood, and I had somebody get out with a AK-47 out in front of my house about 9 months ago and let it rip.
Holy
at someone. Yeah, I got the video of it. Right, I mean, directly. You should have heard it in the middle of the night when I woke up. It woke us all up. I felt it. I've got an SKS, and they got some little bit of thump. And this dude, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, everyone in the neighborhood's asleep. And next thing you know, 30. I think we picked up 29 or 30 rounds out in the middle of the street by my papa's truck. And we got the video.
Wow.
So I know a little bit about that. Luckily, that's the only time that's ever happened. But somebody got into a mess of something, and somebody wreaked havoc. I mean, in front of my house. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Good old Knoxville for you.
Oh, yeah. So I had a question a while ago, and I freaking forgot it, but it'll come back to me, Josh. I want to get to a start little thing here, it's pretty. Michael Bradley said, if you had to choose one, well, bass or beer.
Well, I'm gonna choose bass, but I like my beer, and I don't know if I'll ever quit drinking beer. But people see the name Bass and Beer and assume like, oh, this dude gets drunk and redneck following around drinking. I've had a lot of alcoholics in my family, so I've seen what it. I try not to. I mean, I probably am one myself because I really enjoy drinking, but I will make myself go 3 or 4 weeks without having a drink. And everybody's like, dude, you can't quit drinking beer if you got a YouTube channel, Bass and Beer. I probably ain't going to quit drinking beer, but I do take breaks from it. So I love my bass fishing. And it's gotten to a point now where, like, back in the day, we wanted to, like, go out and drink, have a few beers while we're on the water. But I think now you can, like, even being in a kayak with a motor, they can charge you for having an open container on the kayak. So
I know here in Vermont they can if it's motorized, even like electric e-bike or whatever. It's a DUI if you touch the road with it. Yeah, they don't play anymore. So
so I just I have a beer at home, or sometimes like all of our check-ins, like a lot of our tournaments are at a restaurant, something like that, 90% of the time, and we all meet up afterwards, a bunch of us. That's what I'll do when I'll have me a beer or something like that.
Yep.
Or a podcast.
Podcasts, honestly, that's the best time. Is podcasts are fun.
Sit back and
it's crazy. The podcast world for YouTube for fishing too is like this time. I started mine last year in the fall just because I'm in the Northeast, so I can't. Right now, we're dead. Like we can ice fish, but the weather has been so sketchy that we get like. Sometimes we can go out, and I'm actually taking Monday off because we finally got stable enough ice, and I ended up finding a spot where we caught some walleye and have a pretty good idea of what to do. But like, we basically go from end of October till May with no fishing unless we get ice. So I started doing the podcast game because I needed to do something fishing related, so I'd get on and talk. I'm coming down by you at some point. Once my kids graduate from high school, I'm moving south. Like I actually like the idea of like the Tennessee because you guys have at least seasons to an extent. It does actually. Like, I'm from Vermont, so I'm used to like cold, but like. There's at least like it's not Florida where their winter time is 80 degrees. I don't really want to deal with that. I want to have some cooler weather times.
We're lucky. We're very lucky right here. I mean, it gets cold. We got winter. It snows. But I basically fish all year round, and I love fishing in the winter. We've got lakes around us that I think fish better in the winter. Norris, Cherokee. They're deep. Smallmouth lakes, and I mean I love fishing some at Chilhowie up in the mountains. I always fish it in the winter. Hold on, I got it. Sorry, get that off there. But yeah, East Tennessee is amazing. I feel like we've got everything. And if I feel
like I'm a bandwagon guy because everybody's moving to Tennessee though. Like you see a lot of people like, especially once like Tactical Bassin uprooted everything, came over, and then all of a sudden you started seeing all these YouTubers like, oh, I'm moving to Tennessee, and I'm like. The thing is, I want to do what you do, though. I'm not going there for the big lakes. Like, I actually like the idea of throwing a kayak in a stream and just going and catching smallies.
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up, Josh, was the other day when when you posted that video of you and Rudd and John fishing. Man, that water's when Rudd flipped.
Yeah.
On that piece of rock or something. What do you do? Slip off of it or what?
No, it almost flipped all of us. So John went first, and it was just that little place is insane. I mean, holy crap, wild. But the fishing's amazing. It don't get fished a lot. We actually had people after the video posted. They were like, "Hey man, we walk that, and we maybe get in the water and swim the little. They wait for the water to be like really down." And they walk it, but we, knowing us, we just grabbed the shoalies and went. But it was just the way the current hit this rock. John went first, and I remember him going, I about flipped. So I was like, well, I'll go second. Yeah, it about got me. And then literally Alex was his turn, and John goes, watch Alex will be something. I remember exactly what he said. He's like, Alex will be the one to flip it. He actually got it on video. I think he put it in his video, and there he went. He just rolled it right. I mean, it looked so slow too. It's like Alex didn't even try to go through it. It's like he just went and laid over. But obviously, it just snatched him up and dumped him because it literally almost did all three of us that way.
Yeah. I remember y'all fishing the equipment out downstream, and
Yeah, yeah. We were literally netting stuff. He lost everything. He even lost his iPhone on that trip.
oh Lord,
That was a wild one.
yeah. But yeah, where I live at, we don't have smallmouths. Well, I have to go a little north, up the Savannah River, up to what they call the Savannah Rapids, which is
Mhm.
outside of Augusta, even to catch a smallmouth, or even go North Georgia up towards like the mountain areas to catch a smallmouth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one of my bucket list fish.
Have you caught one?
No, I haven't.
Oh man.
Yeah, I hadn't.
They're
I
different
heard they're a
species,
different
man.
fight than a
They're
largemouth.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still
They're
love my
feistier.
largemouth, but they're mean. And the thing is, we have a bass here that's really invasive. Is the spotted bass, like the Alabama spotted bass and stuff.
Yeah.
They're so. Oh man, we go to a couple of rivers that's got those, and they are freaking fun. But they will kill out the smallmouth, and it's scary. What's going to happen in the next 10 years when they start making it up all of our rivers. Don't get me wrong. I love catching spotted bass. They fight like crazy, and they're mean. But smallmouth are like just so beautiful and awesome fish.
Yeah.
Especially you catch a big 20 or 21 incher. They're just special. Big old fat, 5 or 6 pounder.
Yeah, that's like with the Flint and the Chattahoochee here in Georgia. There's only one fish species you can find in Georgia, nowhere else, is the shoal bass. And they somehow, the spotted bass have got into them two fisheries, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to they would
Now,
have they will have tournaments. They will have tournaments on them two rivers. If you catch a spotted bass, you must keep it.
Yeah. Well, they breed out the smallmouth. They breed them out.
I wonder if they could breed out the shoal bass too. I wonder if the genetics are close enough that they could.
I don't know. I haven't even talked to a biologist about it. I know one of the state biologists, and I'd like to talk to him about it just to kind of see.
Yeah,
because people take them damn things and they ride them around in their live well, and I don't want to clean these fish, and they throw them out in the nearest body of water.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hate it, but like you said, I caught some in Lake Hartwell last year, and especially on a spinning reel.
They're fun. Yeah. God, and they're mean. Yeah. They will destroy topwater and everything. Rudd caught one over 6 pounds on one of our trips. It was freaking unbelievable.
I saw that video. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's a giant. He was going to make me go to Walmart 45 minutes away. And we ended up finding an old guy with like a scale from 1937 that we used. Even to this day, Rudd's like, man, I don't know about that scale. He's like, we might have had a world record or a state record.
State record? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the whole state record thing for me is kind of weird too, because I don't know if I caught a state record if I would want to report it here, because you literally get nothing. You get your name in the paper, but you got to kill it. You actually have to kill the fish here.
Well, the spotted bass for sure. I think that's what Rudd said. If they come for to do all that fish wouldn't be put back in there. So
like here they literally make you actually can freeze it or whatever, but then they autopsy it and all this other stuff. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I mean, I'm a YouTuber, so like I'll just put it on video. I've got it memorialized that way, and then just let the fish go, because I feel like. Yeah, like I literally did a poll, like I just thought it would be fun. I asked a bunch of my buddies that fish, and I said, who holds the state record for largemouth? Not a single person could tell me.
Really? I don't know what it is here either.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you think about it, you don't know who holds it. No one. You don't know what the actual number is, so how important is it? Whereas for me, I would rather see, like for here, the state record largemouth is like 10.5, I think. It's not very big, but like I would hate to see a 10.5 pound largemouth be killed so that my name can go on a list somewhere.
Yeah.
Like
we've got some big largemouth caught here because we got Chickamauga. I caught a largemouth over 9 pounds on a lake close to me a few years ago, and there's just not a lot of fish there's some 9 and 10 pounders that come out of that lake, but you don't hear of it often. Right. But you got to think the world record smallmouth was caught here too. I don't even know what's that, like 13 pounds or something.
It was big. I want to say it was almost 20, like 19.
No, smallmouth. I think the smallmouth is like 13.
Oh, smallmouth, smallmouth's like smallmouth. 13, yeah.
Yeah, it was caught a few hours away on Del Hollow. But like I said, we got Chickamauga that's got freaking giants in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's some good fisheries up there in Tennessee.
It's
and,
a really,
and
it's.
I heard that Watts Bar is finally coming back around a little bit. They had a problem with that fishery for a while, but they've trying to get it back.
It seems like it ain't been doing too bad. That's a lake it's probably, I could beat a Watts Bar in 40 minutes, but I just don't fish it a lot. I've never had no luck there.
Yeah.
I did catch big fish in a tournament a year or two ago on that lake. That's the only time I didn't even have a limit in that tournament. I caught big fish. The thing is, there was like 60 anglers, so it was good, but that's the best I've ever did. I mean, I've fished 2 or 3 tournaments on it. Always catch fish, but I just never do great. I never like figure anything out down there.
Yeah. I found out the question I was going to ask you, Josh, is about consistency being on as a content creator and publishing your content on YouTube. Is how consistent should a person be as far as getting their videos published on their channel? I think
so. That's like one of the major things when it comes to content, being a YouTuber, is being consistent. And we talk, or we've brought it up a couple times about there being so many people in the game. There are a ton of people in the game, and they've diluted it. And the thing that sucks is, I'm gonna say 50 or 60% of those people you won't even see them after they've been doing YouTube for maybe a year or that.
They drop off. Yep.
Everybody, but it hurts us, I feel like, for the most part. But it's the guys that are consistent that really, at the end of the day, I'm going to keep filming YouTube no matter what. I've been lucky enough to grow up to 7,000 something subscribers. Hopefully, be at 8 soon. But I am going to keep doing it. I don't know when. Will I stop? I don't know. And I'm going to keep doing it. And, whether I just make it to 15,000 over the next 5 years, I'm going to keep doing it. Maybe I'll get 100,000 over the next 5 years. I don't know. I hope I do. But being consistent is everything. Doing the best you can, making the best quality. Take your time on your editing. Don't rush. There's no need to rush. Sometimes I go 2 or 3 weeks without posting a video. That's very rare. That's just recently because of winter. I've went out and fished 5 times. I've only had 1 good trip, but I'll try to make shorts out of my old videos. I'll go back and create some shorts to try to post something, or I'll go to my community tab and ask some questions or create a poll just to keep people engaged in stuff like that. I'll go back and repost an old reel or something. You have to put something out there. Right. And I see a lot of people film, and they film for a year, and then they take 6 months off. They come back. All right, guys, sorry, I've been gone for a while. They kind of kill themselves doing that.
Yep.
Because you've lost that engagement. You've lost that momentum you had going. It's about building momentum and just keep going with it.
Right. So would you say, if you're staying consistent, and I'm gonna throw this word out here, hopefully YouTube won't shoot me off but the algorithm, there with these big companies now and these big social media platforms, they've gone to an algorithm, and you've got to somehow break that algorithm as a content creator. Do you feel posting once or twice in a week, or once in a week, or 3 times in a week will kick you into that algorithm where more people will see your content?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really haven't figured all that algorithm stuff out, man.
Yeah,
I just post. I want to say algorithm is definitely a thing. It's probably annoying, but there's a certain sound. I've been sharing shorts, and I've probably shared 10 of them with the same sound. It's a viral sound. I seen someone share it, and this lady was like, "Oh, I've gained 1,000 subscribers every week using this sound." So I went and I used that sound, and I used it probably 10 times. And there's something about that sound, the algorithm. I gained 700 subscribers in the last 28 days. I've gained over 700 subscribers from 9 or 10 shorts that are 12 seconds long, just from using that one sound. I don't know what it is. Obviously has to do about the algorithm, but as in just regular videos though, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to it. I can say I look on my analytics, and my videos do better if I post at 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. Monday, Tuesday,
Same
maybe
thing
a
for me.
Sunday. So I'll try to schedule those videos for 5 or 6 p.m. I think as people get off work and they watch them, and I think, like I said, I don't know how this stuff works 100%, but I feel like my regular subscribers, the people that like watching me, start interacting with the video. They start watching it, they like it, they comment, and I think that's what kind of starts to push that out there.
Yep.
And then, I remember starting out getting 150 views, and I thought that was a lot. Now, if I get 700 or 800 views, I feel like that's not that good of a video. I feel like I have to hit 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 views. That's doing good for my channel that's around 7,000 and something subscribers.
Yep.
But consistency is everything. Be consistent.
And honestly, from my experience too, is like if you find that your videos are being watched on Thursday at 5:30, put your videos out on Thursday. Even if it's one video a week, put video out Thursday at 5:30. Because what I know is, like, for example, not to keep bringing him up, but like Rudd, I know his podcast is on 8 or 9 o'clock on Friday. So I go on YouTube at 8 or 9 o'clock on Friday to see if his podcast is on to watch it. Like, if you know a video is going to hit and you like the channel, if you can pick up on when the videos are going to hit, you're going to go check to see if the new video. It's just like the old school TV shows that were always on Monday night at 8 o'clock. You would always watch Monday night at 8 o'clock to see it. A lot of people, because I've noticed, like, a lot of my videos, they do like that spike. Like, when you release a video, it's like, boom, people are watching it, and now no one's watching it. Like, it kind of jumps up, and then it kind of levels out later, but it's because if you do it consistent enough that people are expecting a video on a certain day of the week or a certain time, they know to look for it. And I do think that 5 o'clock thing, I think it's they're getting home from work, they're waiting for dinner, they're cooking dinner, they need something to do in the meantime. They're trying to kill that time. I feel like that time really does help a lot.
I see other guys post early in the morning and they'll do fine, but I just noticed that late afternoon deal is the best for me. And I'm gonna reply to that comment to USA Kayak Fishing, the chopped up, that long format. I agree on somewhat on some videos. I don't ever put out, like, you see some guys that put out 40-50 minute videos. I don't. Mine will be 20 minutes, 21 minutes. I try to keep them less than that, but I've gotten to a point now where I've noticed even if I post a 15 to 20 minute video, they get just as many views. But here's the thing that people got to look at. It is very hard to show you, I can go and just show you my catches. And I mean, at the end of the day, what is that? I think that's stupid. Literally just start the video out and we'll catch a fish. We catch 10 fish and the video's over. Like I said, I like to take people along for the trip. I want you to enjoy the day kind of as I did. So replying to that comment, it is hard to take a 7 or 8 hour day and crunch that down. You got to go through. I mean, I've got 2 or 3, 4 SD cards. You've got, say, a tournament, and you had a killer tournament, and you've been out there for 8 hours. You have to crunch that 8 hours down into a shortest video as you can. It's almost impossible to crunch that down into 10, 11, 12 minutes, especially if you want to make your video, I feel like, interesting, taking people along for the trip. So I've managed to be able to learn how to, crunch that, 7, 8 hour trip down into a 16 to 20, 21 minute video. I've had some a little bit longer, 28, 29, but those are like those adventures me and Alex and us do, and John, those are like crazy long videos. You got to add some of that, trip in there. So
that's right. And we got Mr. John Wilson says, sorry, I'm subscribed to all 3 of y'all's channels. I think he said earlier in the comments that he subscribed to your channel, Josh, and said he'll make it. I'm sure I'll be a better fisherman for it. Now, I don't know, man. I don't know about myself, but I've made a lot of mistakes.
I think that's honestly, though, that's like probably one of the most cliche things I ever said on YouTube was like, if you don't catch fish, at least catch knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Like, when you go fishing, like, watch all of our channels and watch every video. But at the same time, like, use your own body of water and just take what we say as a reference. Don't necessarily think you have to use the exact bait and exact line and exact rod that I'm using. Like, take the concept into play. I'm casting to a lay down with a swim bait. Does it have to be a Kitech? No, it could be whatever swim bait you like to use, but take the perspective of the whole thing together, and then you can learn from that. But honestly, YouTube makes you look better than you actually are, because you're not going to see the 16 hours of me beating my head against the wall not catching fish. You're going to see, like he said, you take 12 hours of tournament footage. You didn't catch fish all 12 of those hours.
No.
You caught fish in short windows, short bursts, and then you're not going to show the 6-inch bass and then the 6-inch bass and then the 6-inch bass. You're going to show the ones that you actually put on the board, or the ones that you may show a couple little ones, but at the end of the day, I'm not showing you how much stress I went through to get bored out of my mind. I'm showing you the actual parts that were exciting. So YouTube and videos do that, you know.
I've had a lot of guys. I've got some guys locally that watch my channel, some older guys and stuff. It's funny, if I see them out, or they'll message me and say, "Hey, I appreciate," like a lot of them don't. A lot of people have this thing against people that, film YouTube videos. And you hear that stuff kind of circling around between people, like, "Oh, he films everything. He blew that spot out." But I've had guys talk to me about, like, they appreciate even the videos, because I post videos that on the days that I didn't do that great. Like, I don't just post videos where I'm just like, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm wrecking them," and I'm wrecking them. I'll post those videos where I struggle. Especially if it's a tournament video, I'm not going to show you every freaking amazing tournament. If I go fish a tournament, the only way I won't post a video 90% of the time is if I completely zero. But if I go out and I fish a tournament and I catch 2-3 fish, I'll show you that video and everything leading up to it, because that's real. That's going to happen to you and you and me and everybody.
Absolutely.
So I show those videos too. And I've had people say, "Hey man, that's why I like watching you, is because you show those days that you struggle and you're trying to figure it out. You show those days."
I show the bird's nest. I show the cast it into a tree and snap my rod trying to get my jig back out of the tree. Like, I like to show that stuff because
that's real
I
life.
can relate to it.
Yeah,
my channel is not the whole premise of my channel was, I got, to be honest, sick of watching these guys that were very commercially, and I got sick of watching guys that were like, they made you believe that you have to use a Corrado and a St. Croix rod with, Tatsu line. Like,
I do love my Corrados though.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's certain products
you don't have,
but like, my first probably 5 or 6 5-pounders were caught on a Hank Parker Lose combo that I bought at Walmart for $22. Like, you don't have to have that, but also I like you said, I like to show, like, I bird's nest by reels. It happens. You cast the wind, it sucks. I break rods. I catch rocks. That I actually had a video last year where I did, like, probably, honestly, the best way I could word it is like a home run hook set. I wound up and set that thing, and I thought it was a fish, but the rod, it had, like, I had a football jig that kind of got lodged under a rock, and it kind of felt like a fish pole, and I, like, almost snapped my rod in half because I was trying to, like, bring this fish up from the bottom, but I was actually hooking into, like, a piece of marble or something and broke off. But I was just like, boom, and I was like, oh, ow, and then, like, just the line snapped. You got to show the bad and the good, because at the end of the day, my personal advice, and I'm not even as big as your channel is it's not really the concept of the video, it's you. The viewers are investing in you as a content creator. Yeah. They want to be your friend, and they want to follow you. And like you said, I always kind of try to make my videos like my buddy is sitting in the back of my kayak with me, and I'm taking him fishing. That's kind of how I try to make my videos.
You learn to talk to that thing. Like I said, I've caught myself going out without them, which I never do, but I do.
Yep.
And it is weird not having cameras with me.
It's awful. It's
weird. Because I'll catch myself talking to but I've also learned, if I'm really going to do this, if I'm really going to try to make YouTube videos and have fun and enjoy it, and it's did a lot for me so far, even at a small channel like mine, it still did a lot. I would get to
Creates
work
a lot of weird opportunities you would never expect.
with some little companies that send me things and some sponsorships. It's just, I don't know, man. It's cool. I really enjoy it.
So, guys, we're about 50 minutes in, and we're going to take about a 23-minute little second break.
23-second break.
23-second break, man. Okay, we'll be right back.
We're going to take a 23-minute break, guys. We'll be back in half an hour.
Hey, we're back. So that is the Georgia Tour Kayak Series commercial that I've put together for the start. It kicks off in March, so we'll run it. That'll be a total of 6 tournaments. That's including the championship down here in Georgia. So if you're watching and you want to come travel to Georgia to fish some, hey, it's on Tourney X. Just go search out Southeast Georgia Kayak Bass Fishing on Tourney X, and you'll find all the tournaments. So we're going to run this.
Heck yeah.
We're going to run this for another, I don't know. Heck, I ain't got to go to work till tomorrow night. So, but
so you do the kayak fish. Do you do just the one trail, or do you do like a bunch of little trails, or how do you do your?
No, well, okay, so I fish whatever I can fish, and I want to get out there more and fish the Bass Nation, and I want to fish some of the Hobie events. I don't make a ton of money, and I've got 3 kids and anyways, have a wife, but I just put a lot of my money, whatever money I had went to them. I fish a lot of these other tournaments, but those $280, $285 entry fees.
Yeah, it's
traveling to another state, gas, a good dependable vehicle, staying in a B&B for 2 or 3 nights, food. I just ain't got $900 like some of these guys do.
You're dropping $1,000 to hope you break even because you may win.
Yeah,
and if you don't place first, you're basically losing money on that whole trip.
90% of these people don't win money. You got to think, you're only paying out so many spots out of 200 anglers. But I do fish. Tin Cat's my main trail, Tennessee Kayak Anglers Tournament Trail. We're one of the number 1 trails in the entire state. We average 30, 40, 50 anglers every tournament. Amazing group of guys. That's one reason I fish is going to these check-ins and, hanging out with these guys and some of the best people ever. The Tennessee Bass Nation, I fish a lot of those. And then we've got a big trail here I won this past year called Fishing for Soldiers. They have one event every year, a bass boat tournament and a kayak series. And it averages 50 to 60. I think we had 80 one year maybe. And it supports the Smoky Mountain Service Dogs, which are like dogs that help, veterans and stuff. And I won that this past year, which was amazing. I wanted to win that one, and I finally did. And but I'm gonna fish I think it's native, or no, what is it? It's a big bass. They pay $1,000 every hour.
Yeah, the native watercraft.
So they're gonna have that on Chickamauga next weekend. Our Tennessee Bass Nation and my Tin Cats. I'm gonna sign up for all 3 of those.
Nice.
And then later in the year, I think September, I'm gonna fish my first national event. Even though it's gonna be here, it's gonna be on Lake Chickamauga. I'm gonna go ahead and just get my feet wet and jump into a Hobie event since it's close.
Hobie BOS event.
Yeah. Since it's on Chick, I never really do that good on Chick. I did get second this year, or this past year in 2023, out of 42 anglers. I got second. That's the best I've ever done on that lake. But yeah, I'm gonna get my feet wet, jump into the Hobie BOS, I think, on Chick this year, and then like I said, I'm looking to buy a new truck in the next year, and once I do that, I'll probably start getting out there. And because obviously I've got a niche for it. I've got a wall full of trophies. I've won 2 Bass Nation events, Tennessee Bass Nation events, and tons of all the local stuff. I've won a little bit of everything, so I definitely want to expand.
So with the Tennessee Nation Bass Series, did you qualify for the state championship?
Yeah, I've. You can also, the Tennessee Bass Nation State Championship. I've qualified for that. I did actually skipped it this year, and but I think I fished it 3 years. This would have been my 4th year. I just decided not to do it. And then we have our Cast State Championship, which is made up of all the trails throughout Tennessee. We all fish our regular trail. The top 10 guys advance to the state championship. And this would have been my 4th year fishing that one. I skipped it as well.
Good deal.
That's the hard trade-off sometimes. Is anybody who thinks you're going to get rich fishing tournaments, that's not what it's about. It's really about challenging yourself and seeing. We lost music out there.
Yep. Was that
so
me?
What I was saying? Yeah, you looked like you cut out there real quick. But it's really back. For me. I don't know how. I guess if you were like a really, really, really good angler, you could probably do it. But for the most part, it's like I thought I was a good fisherman until I started fishing kayak tournaments, and then I realized. Yeah, I'm good on my lakes, and I'm good when I can control what lake I'm fishing on what day. But when you put on a specific lake and you don't have control over the day, now you've got to adapt to the conditions. Maybe it's one that you don't fish all the time. You start to learn, okay, I need to get better at XYZ. I need to be more proficient at this. I need to be... Honestly, with tournaments, I think the biggest thing is efficiency. Like, you don't realize when you're fun fishing, like... I need to be able to change baits and I need to be able to make decisions faster because I had a lot of tournaments that like even one of the ones I placed in the money, but that fish I caught that got me into the money was in the last 30 minutes. Like you have to like really grind the whole time.
I won a tournament with 50 seconds left. Yep. Yeah, I got wrapped up, tangled up. I broke the limb off under the water. Finally got the fish on the board, and the tournament director told me I had 50 seconds left. And that was after. So his line's out at 3, but it goes to that 60-second mark.
Yeah.
And it was after 3, and I mean I had 50, like it must have been 3 o'clock with 10 seconds in to that next minute. And I actually made a little bit of money fishing this year. It's kind of, I did my tax. I got a little lawn care business, got to do my own taxes, and I go to H&R Block, but I figured all up. Some of it, a good little chunk of it, I didn't claim because they didn't turn it in. Some of the clubs. I filed $11,000 this year from fishing, but tournament wise, I probably won. There was more than that. I probably should watch what I say. It wasn't that much though, but.
Well, yeah. What I mean by not making money is so you got to take into account like the dollar amount of winnings. You're driving your gas, the baits you end up buying for that lake. Like when you start actually doing the math, it really levels out. Like it does.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah. So I've got a lawn care business. I mow yards in the summer. So if I win any of these tournaments, like in these colder months, it helps me pay bills. Right. You know, a little local club will pay $500 or $600. Boom. I got a little bit of KUB and rent money. Yep. But I won some of these, Tennessee Bass Nation. I won $1,000 or $1,100. I won the Fishing for Soldiers, which was $1,000. I won a classic, the ET or the Northeast Tennessee Kayak Anglers. I won Angler of the Year for them and their classic, which ended up paying close to $2,000 because I got a gift card for $1,500. I just sold it to somebody.
Yep.
And then I won another classic this year, and that paid about $1,300, which was a cash. So, but I mean, I did. Will I do that this year? Probably not.
Right.
I probably won't. That's something that's, that's not consistent. I just had a decent year this year where I actually made a good little chunk of money from fishing tournaments. And some of that's YouTube, a little bit of that's YouTube and stuff too.
Yeah.
But I was surprised once I did I couldn't imagine being John though. Oh, no. Mr. Creekfisher Fish. I seen his analytics the other day and I was, Jesus.
You want to hack your
head. That too is the question I have on the monetization stuff because I'm not there yet. Is do you feel like your videos are being shared more once you monetize, or is it like does it have any effect on that, or is it just now you have the potential to get paid?
Yeah, I don't think just because you're monetized don't mean it's gonna just all of a sudden you're gonna get a bunch of views because you're monetized. You're gonna get those same views. That's why I say just don't worry about that. If I was worried about, I wouldn't be. I mean, if I was worried, I wouldn't be doing it. I got my best payment last month. It was like $385.
Yeah.
But that's $385. I can go buy a reel. I can buy some baits.
Yep.
And then there's these other guys that are making $9,000 or $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
That guys I know that make $9,000-$10,000 a month and $6,000 or $7,000 a month, and here I am. My best payment I've made so far is like $380, which is, like I said, I'm not complaining. It's amazing. I love it. It's extra money to go help towards fishing, but don't get into it for that. Enjoy it, have fun, and film. But that's still in your mind that we none of us do nothing for free. That's all of our goal is to eventually, hopefully, make it to that point. Will we get there? A bunch of us ain't going to. It's just a sad truth. But as long as we're having fun during that process, keep doing it, and then we're going to have all that content to look back on over the next. We'll be 80 years old, and YouTube's still going to be there, and we're going to get to look back and see that stuff.
Yeah. People don't like. If I have people view my videos, I consider that payment, because for me, I make my videos for me, and it's like really cool. My wife hates it, to be honest. I think because it got to the point where now that I have buddies that do YouTube, it's fun. And I can to be honest, I may end up hitting you up on Instagram because a lot of times I find it's like you send somebody a video and you say, hey, what do you think of this transition? But my wife was annoyed because I'm like, hey, do you like this? Does this look cool? What do you think about this? Should I do this or that? What do you think about this thumbnail? But they don't get it.
It all looks the same to me. That's what she said.
Yeah.
It all looks the same to me. Or what? Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to show you something real quick. Come look. Yeah. They obviously
you get proud of what you do because you spent 12 hours of fishing and then 3 hours of editing to make that 10-15 minute video, and you're really pumped about how the fact that when you casted the pole went across the screen and you could use that as a transition to the next scene.
Yeah.
And that means nothing to somebody that doesn't do this for fun. So enjoy making the video for you, make something that you would want to watch, and then usually the views will follow. Yeah. I get a lot of views, honestly. I just don't get a lot of subs right now. So
yeah, I think my channel, you see some of these guys that are so fancy with some of their content, their B-roll and other things. Yeah. I try to add that B-roll and stuff in there. I'm using a basic editing software, Windows Movie Maker, as basic as it gets. Yep. I've got a better program that I'll dabble with if I want some cool footage with my voice in the background. I can take another clip that's got me talking. I want to put it over another one. Yep. I'll put it in that program, edit just that clip, and then I'll stick it in my regular that I can do really quick, my regular Windows Movie Maker. Yep. But I've had a lot of people say that's why they like watching me, is because it's just simple. There ain't no crazy. I still fly my drone. I do cool B-roll stuff. I think it's cool. Obviously, I keep doing it, so I guess I don't really. Other people watch it, so I guess they like it too. But I'm still going to keep doing it the way I do it, though. That's the way I like to do it, and that's how I'm going to do it. I think that's what'll make guys be successful, or the guys that stay true to themselves and to do it how they want to do it. And I think you'll eventually grow.
In my mind, what's crazy too is because you do a lot of the collab stuff, with the boys, and what's crazy to me is I've been doing a lot. I met a guy from Canada that comes down and fishes with me, and what's really fun for me is watching his video as compared to my video of the same trip.
Yeah,
because I learn a lot about stuff that I could, I should do better, and it's not necessarily I take criticism from it, but it's I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't even think to use B-roll right here. Yeah. And, I didn't think about using that shot. And we actually are to the point now where we have a Google Drive and we share photos. So, we will literally dump all of our videos. We're like, hey, dude, you probably want this. I'll take that. Send me your smallmouth picture. Send me this. And then we, kind of combine it. But it's still, at the end of the day, he is very, polished. And, his videos are more, hyper detailed, whereas mine is more organic and kind of more rednecky, I guess is the best way to word it, more grassroots. But it's cool to see how they interpreted the day in a video versus how I did. Yeah. And for you, I mean, you've got two guys that literally do this for a living, so you see their because Alex's videos are not like John's, are not like all three of you have different styles.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. John's, to me, is the most basic.
Yep.
John and he puts so much time into it. And I love going around John. And the other day when we fished, I just put a video out tonight. He was down here on Watts Bar fishing and met up with me, and we just to hand me a bag full of baits, and we went and ate Mexican food, and that's what we talk about. And he's like a dad or something kind of. We're the same age, but he's like, you should do this. You need to do this. I want you to do this. But his videos are just, he'll put his drone in there. He does things like me, some B-roll, but he don't get fancy. John is John. He posts his videos and just, that's it. And that people just love John and the content, just keeping it simple.
Right. We're going to go to a star comment over here from Roy from USA Kayak Fishing. He has a magazine that's online. The next issue comes out in March. He said your $385 can buy you a glide bait there, Josh.
That'd be hard for me to buy a glide bait for that much. Gosh.
Yeah, let me tell you, man. Some of them boys spend some big money on them things, man.
I heard somebody locally just spent like, God, what was it? $2,000 or $3,000. Just dumped $2,000 or $3,000 on glide bait. Somebody local. That's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of money on glide baits.
My problem is up here in Vermont we have pike, so stuff like that is not worth it.
We've got some muskie down here, though. I mean,
muskie would, exactly. That would be my fear. Is I throw this $400 bait out, bring it back twice, and then the next thing I know, it's gone in a pike's mouth, and I'm liable to jump in and try to go like alligator wrestle that pike to get that swim bait back. It may make a great video, but I'm going to be crying because I lost $400.
John, that's what I'm saying. John gave me a bag of baits. He just gave me a brand new Mike Buka bull shad.
Nice.
It's one of the. I got a big 8-inch one that's just massive. John was with me. First time I ever made. This is crazy. First time, and I thought, you buy a big giant 8 or 9 inch bull shad, you think you're going to catch a 6-pound smallmouth. We go up to this little river, tied on. First cast of the day. I ain't made a cast. I've never even threw this bait. Make a cast across this little like current coming through, and there's a big like pile of grass. I ran that dang bull shad across there and got smoked. I was with John. It was an 18-incher though. It was a good fish, maybe 3 pounds, but it wasn't what I expected to hit that 9-inch swim bait. But I finally got me a 5-inch though. John just gave me one, so I was like, heck yeah. So when I go to the river, I can start throwing that 5-inch bull shad around.
So John Wilson says we're talking about YouTube earlier, watching YouTube and all that. He says nobody watches cable TV anymore, and that YouTube is his cable TV. Good days, bad days. He enjoys all. And
I agree with him. And
he says, y'all are celebrities, the lot of us. I'm not no celebrity, cuz.
I'm far from that, but
John, I see John and Alex. Those guys are popular, man. I worked a fishing show this year, and I've been there for 3 years, I guess 3 or 4 years. I actually worked it because I was working part-time for River Sports Outfitters. It's a local kayak company here. It's who I'm sponsored by. I've got a Hobie from them. One of my Hobies is from River Sports, and I fish for them. So last year I was an employee part-time through the winter, and I worked the show, and it was that was my first year. Like, I feel like the last couple of years, my YouTube kind of really started to grow a little bit more and start fishing with John more and Alex more. And I had people come up to me, but this year was different. Like, now that I've got over 7,000 subscribers, if you think about, if you put 7,000 people there, a lot of these guys are local too. A bunch of them are people here. So I probably talked to 30, 40 people that come up to me at the show and was like, hey, man, I love your channel. And talk. It was so cool. I had somebody ask for a picture. That was cool. But now John, though, it's a whole nother ball game. He left the show with people giving him things, boats, and signing on. He signs, people come up with their baits and say, will you sign this for me? John is literally at 150,000 subscribers. He's kind of a celebrity. And it would have been amazing if Alex would have come and all three of us were there together.
Let's be honest. Cool. Alex is the type of person that even if he was trying not to be seen, you can kind of identify Alex from.
You ain't missing. Yeah,
you ain't missing him.
No.
Yeah. So you're talking about John signing autograph. He probably signed packs of Yum Dingers, didn't he?
Probably, or packs of those Yum the Helgramites, the new ones that they've come out with the same color.
Helgramites are freaking awesome. That's one of my favorite baits.
I like to get my hands on some of them and fish them down here because I don't think the fish has ever seen them down here.
So that's actually something cool that happened this year. Is I've never threw Helgramites. I fished with John. He might have gave me one, but I just never fish them. I fish with what I fish with. And I ran into Nico, the guy that runs the United States side, and he was like, "Man, I tried to reach out to you like 3 years ago and send you some stuff." So I got to talk to him for a long time, like 30 minutes. He ended up giving me some stuff from Hellgrammites and some of their swim baits. And that was something that was really cool that happened there this year.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to throw some Hellgrammites.
Those things on a Ned rig, dude, are just devastating. And it's
I've
crazy.
seen John kill it.
Yeah.
We did a tournament up here at Jigs and Bigs podcast. I'm friends with Bobby, and he did a Midsummer Mayhem, which is like a MLF style, like all the fish count basically, and then whoever had the most inches at the end wins. So they had like a minimum length and then a maximum length because they did it nationwide to try to cap it, so guys down in Georgia couldn't just sit there and catch a bunch of 20 inchers all day and kill us northern guys. But literally, I caught, I think it was like 25 or 30 largemouth on this lake that I honestly fished most of the time because it has so many fish in it, but they're usually like 14, 15 inches. But I caught, of those 20 fish, I probably caught 15 of them on a Hellgrammite on a Ned rig. Like, it was just, you could drop that thing in anywhere, and it's just, I don't know if it's the profile or it's, I mean, up here, it's, you know, we have obviously that type of stuff in the water already, but
yeah,
a black blue fleck Hellgrammite or like a green pumpkin one, man, and just throwing it on a lighter Ned rig, let it fall, and I was getting smashed on that thing.
So I've learned TRD yoga pants. That's like my number one thing. Green pumpkin, 4-inch, a wide gap like a weedless Ned head. I usually throw those on like really heavy Ned heads, like on the lake to get down there in deep water, or if I'm on a big river, doing that. But if I'm on like a creek or something like some of these little rivers me and John go on, these really shallow 2 or 3 foot small rivers and creeks, I'll throw a Hellgrammite or like a one of the little troopers, one of the little crawls like Rudd throws, the Maxent. A super, I've noticed that's how John catches them. Super, super light head. I mean, like, I don't even, see, that's the thing about me. I was going to say something earlier. I don't keep up with all the brands, this specific rod, medium, heavy, action, fast, medium, light on this reel. That's this. Some I do like frogging and stuff, but John just throws a super light head, like maybe a 1/16th or
probably
something.
A 16th. I've seen,
and it just, those things float, but it's just enough weight to just get it to just kind of float in that water column down there, and those fish see it. I've seen John wreck them like that, and I'll come behind him throwing a regular Ned head, you know, a heavier Ned head, not getting bit at all. So I feel like in those smaller creeks and rivers, go light, let it kind of drift with that current.
Let it float,
Yeah, but
I think it's the shape. It makes it like it's almost flat on the bottom. A lot of times they have like a flatter surface, so they just, like you said, they just kind of coast.
Yeah. Well, they see those Hellgrammites anyways, like naturally, and then like I think like the big TRDs, even the Hellgrammites may look like leeches and stuff to them. You know, you go like all black or dark green pumpkin, looks like a leech or maybe a bait fish or something.
Yeah. So Roy from USA Kayak Fishing, he said DaVinci Resolve is a free software if you want to check it out there, Josh. I've heard good things about it. I use a lot of other things.
I'll tell y'all the one that I kind of use. It's called Open Shot.
I used, that's what I started with.
Okay,
I started with Open Shot too.
I'll use that a little bit, but I've been using what I use for years, and I've got it figured out, and I can edit a video so much faster. I can do everything I need to do.
Yeah. But guys, we've been going for about a minute 15 now. So Josh, hey man, great information you put out for us. Keep up the channel. What's your socials where everybody can find you?
Bass and Beer on YouTube, and you can look up Josh Sharp, or I guess Bass and Beer on Instagram and Facebook too. I've got a Bass and Beer on Facebook. I've got my regular profile, Josh Sharp. That's what I use mostly on Facebook. And then Instagram, it's still my personal account too, but it's J Sharp Bass and Beer on Instagram. But YouTube's mainly what my main thing. I try to post content and stuff on.
Gotcha. So, yeah, man. Anybody got any more questions? Mike, you got a question? Any more questions for him, real quick, before we?
I'm probably gonna end up hitting you up on Instagram and be like, "Hey, dude, check out this transition," because it's fun. I actually do this honestly for the networking. Like you said, you went to a trade show. Trade shows like I have a bait guy that I am not even sponsored by them. I just help them sell baits. He does painting and stuff like that. And I went down the trade show more to network with other companies that were at the show. And I do all this because of weird, like, I can randomly text Alex Rudd and ask him to come on a podcast. Now, granted, Alex is the type of person that probably would just sit there and talk fishing with me for an hour because it's his personality. But like, I brought Mikey Balls on my channel one time, and then like I started texting him, and then he was getting into kayak fishing, and he started calling me to ask me ideas on, you know, what to get for his kayak and stuff like that. Like, that's why I do this, because you can get these like weird relationships in this weird network and build this really cool community that I wouldn't have by just fishing my local pond and not putting content out. So it's like, that's really what it's about for me, is just building this like community.
And the more you grow, the more all that comes too. You'll have more people that want to work with you, little companies and people that just talk to you, period. I mean, they just, it's just how it is.
So you just
networking.
You just mentioned something, Josh. I wanted to hit on earlier before we leave is affiliates. How do you feel about working with affiliates that are in your niche and outside your niche, or vice versa?
Like people that say, "Hey, would you mean like people that want to send you a product to do like video on and stuff like that?"
Yeah.
Okay, I get a lot of that. I get a ton of that. I had somebody try to send me a drone. It was like a $700 or $800 drone. I've already got a drone. Someone sends me a product and like I needed some, I've got all my lead time. I'm wearing their shirt actually. I'm using what's running all my phone and stuff right now is running off one of their little battery banks they sent me. All my lithium batteries is from them. That's one of those things, affiliate, where they were like, "Hey, if we send you these batteries, would you do a video on them?" I need some lithium batteries. Sure. I went and bought my NK180 as soon as they offered me these batteries, because I'm going to save $500 or $600. I don't have to buy batteries.
Right.
That's one of the companies that are amazing to me because their product's amazing, but they have went like beyond just that. They've sent me so much stuff, other batteries, several different batteries, products, clothes and stuff. But I get a lot of companies reach out and want to send me things. And if I don't need it or I've already got it, I turn them down. Because those videos don't do as well on my channel. If I make a dedicated video to these batteries or like these right here is a perfect example. Walkie-talkies.
I got those exact ones. Those are actually good.
So this company reached out to me and wanted to send me walkie-talkies, and we were going up to Chehaui Lake in the mountains. There's no service. Yep. And we'd only been up there once, and it's nothing. Dead's nothing. No, you ain't get no phone service. I was like, let me reply back to these people for these walkie-talkies. They sent them to me. I went up in the mountains, shot a video, and it was a perfect way to introduce, hey guys, if you're ever on a lake like this where there's no service, you can use these walkies. Something like that, if I can use it, yes. But I also do like affiliate stuff on Amazon. So that's kind of different. That ain't like someone sending me something. But if I use it, I can link it, and it's crazy the amount of money I've made. I mean, it's not tons, but there's been months.
Yeah, you put it down and you say, I use this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem you have to be careful with some of that affiliate stuff is like, I've signed up for stuff or like had offers. Like I had Enigma reach out to me and offer me like a rod thing, but then they're like, you get 50% off the rods, but you have to phase out all your rods and only use our rods. And you have to spend $400 a year. No. And I'm like, and then I went on their website and they were having a 50% off sale retail. And I'm like, so you're giving me the same deal retail for.
I ain't doing none of that.
No, and that's the thing is, if Pure Fishing called me and asked me to be exclusive with their products, I would do it. Other than that, and that's only because Pure Fishing owns the world of fishing and they own enough stuff that I would use and be able to use. But like, that's the one thing you got to be careful with a lot of those companies is like, they get grumpy if you give them a bad review, and that's not who I am. If I use a product,
you gotta be honest,
and it sucks, I'm gonna tell you this product sucks. Like, I probably honestly burned my chances of having some products reach out to me because I've been like, this this scale broke the first time I used it.
Yeah.
This thing sucks.
But it's the truth though. That's what you got to do. I see
Yeah.
a lot of these guys post this pro staff stuff, and that's just, I'm never going to do that.
No.
No, I'm not going to pay you $20 for a shirt for you to send me 2 others. You're still getting money from me.
Yeah,
That's right.
If someone's going to send me something, send it to me for free, or
Yeah.
pay me. I hate to sound that way, but like,
it is. It's
people don't realize what you're doing for this. Like if a company sends you something and you've got 1,000 subscribers, that product might have just had 5,000 more eyeballs laid on it because
Yep.
of you. Even
Yep.
if they send you one product, and you sell 5, they made their money back.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to offer me this pro staff thing and you get 20% off if you buy this, heck no, nope. You got to send me something. I don't care to do a video. If I need it or I can use it, I'll do a video on it. That's the only time I'll do it. It's like, boots. I've got 2 or 3 pair of boots right here. These companies send me. They're amazing boots, and I needed them. So I was like, yeah, I'll do a video on those.
Yeah.
But if I don't need it or I've already got it,
Well, and you set yourself
delete
up into that like pro bass fishing world too. So like you get those guys that are like 2022, Lew's is the only reel you should use. This is the best reel ever. And then 2023, Daiwa is the best reel. Like you start to like, honestly, if I'm going to watch someone if I'm going to buy something from somebody I saw on the internet, it's going to be somebody like how Alex does it.
Yeah.
How many freaking money badgers you think Alex has sold? And he doesn't like stand up there and pitch it. He just goes and catches fish on it.
We talked about
and
that.
It's just like, oh man, you see him catch fish on it. And he goes, look, caught another fish on the money badger and throws it back in. That organic video that like, oh, I'm using this bait and it worked good today. I'm going to relate to that more. And honestly, fishermen are kind of sick of the infomercially crap.
Yeah.
But you don't even see like commercials like for fishing anymore on television.
Not for baits, no, not really.
Like
see a lot of it on YouTube though.
It's that's the thing is people think that like you're a marketing agent. If you have a company that's sponsoring you, you're a marketing guy. That's what your job is. But the key is if you do it right and it's a product you believe in, it's not really work because you just go, oh, I'm using my XYZ reel today and I'm catching fish on it. That you don't need to tell them what gear ratio the bearings are made out of, Chinese steel. Like that doesn't necessarily matter as much as I caught a fish on it. You can see it on my screen. And like you said, you can have videos that get 20,000 views. That means 20,000 people saw me catch a fish on that bait or on that reel.
Y'all know who Cast King is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the first. That's probably the first company that ever reached out and was like, "Hey, can we send you a few things?" But I did some videos on a couple of their reels, and there's just their basic reels, like the Royale Legend. Remember that? I don't know if you ever heard of those. Those are like $30 or $40, $50 rods 2 or 3 years ago. Those videos got 40, 50,000 views. I know they helped. All they did was send me one of this reel, one of this reel, one of this reel. I did a couple videos on them, and there's no telling what they sold off those.
I love Cast King stuff, actually. It's not a bad... I can't speak for all their stuff, but I have... My favorite spinning rod last year was the Spartacus spinning reel.
I've still got one I'm throwing right now that they sent me 3 years ago. I've got the other one behind me that they probably sent me 4 years ago, and it's still on a rod. Yeah. Right. I've got some stuff from them that sucked. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But they're obviously now too. I've only got those reels. I ain't bought any from them. I've got the ones they sent me. I still use them, but they've obviously come a long ways from that 3 or 4 years ago too. I see Cast King all the time on Facebook and people use them and stuff like that.
They've blown up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I am leaning more towards like my Shimano stuff. I try to, but I can't afford those super expensive reels and stuff. I've got
it's a lot of money to pay for the V sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you once again, Josh, for joining the show. And
no problem, guys.
Everybody, if you don't follow him on YouTube, go hit his subscribe channel. Bass and Beer has some good content if you're looking to fish at some areas up in Tennessee. Follow him along on his tournament stuff. throughout the year and see how he does. And hopefully we'll have him on later in the year to see how he done. And best of luck, man. And everybody stay safe on the water. Remember to wear that PFD and fish on.
Absolutely. Foos